I want to talk for a minute about what's going on with COVID, and I'll start here as it pertains to COVID's impact on the world of sports. You know, this is a battle that I've been fighting for basically 18 months now. I keep forgetting what city they're in. Used to be Oakland Raiders, now Las Vegas Raiders are requiring vaccines to be able to attend their games in Las Vegas this fall. And vaccine passports are now required all over New York City as it pertains to being able to enter bars, restaurants, gyms, sporting events, okay? What's interesting about this is the data now that is coming out is reportedly the Biden administration is going to require booster shots for COVID vaccines 8 months after your most recent vaccine has been received. Why are they doing this? Because of Israeli data, which suggests that the vaccines rapidly lose efficacy and stop to work as well as they have in the past within 8 months. Where do we see this? We see it in Israel, which is one of the most vaccinated countries in the world and is seeing a skyrocketing rate of hospitalizations and infections. The data out of Israel suggests that there is relatively significant protection provided by the vaccines, but that it fades sooner rather than many expected. And when that vaccine fades, that there is a massive impact in terms of breakthrough infections and people being able to get sick. So, I've already had COVID. I keep saying it because people keep asking, well, what have you? I have not gotten the vaccine because I had a natural COVID infection. I still have COVID antibodies, okay? So, as you look and think about what is coming, I've been saying for a while, the COVID vaccine is going to look more and more and more like a flu shot. And I think one of the big challenges going forward is going to be this. How frequent are these booster shots going to be to provide protection against COVID? Every year, are you going to have to get a booster shot? If so, that's not anything that's similar to a traditional vaccine. Yes, you have to get booster shots for some vaccines, but it's not normal that you would get a yearly booster shot for a COVID vaccine. It's starting to sound more and more like we are going to have to do what I've been telling you for 18 months now. COVID's going to be endemic. We have to get used to living with it. We can't run and hide. The vaccines have not been some panacea that end COVID forever. In fact, if you look at Israel, even if 100% of the United States population was vaccinated, there would still be many different people getting infections as a result of the Delta variant or some future variant down the line. And so, the question that nobody can answer that I think is significant is how many different COVID booster shots for the vaccine are going to be required now. Most of you out there who get the vaccine are now going to be required to get 3 different shots in the space of 8 or 9 months. What is that going to look like in the years ahead, and how is this going to impact things? Again, a month ago, people were mad at me for talking about the Israeli data, for having Alex Berenson on, for sharing the data and talking about the impact. This is going to be, I believe, an unfortunate and long process until COVID is over in terms of being a major threat on a day-to-day basis for purposes of the media discussing it, right? So that is the latest reports that everybody's going to have to get a booster shot who got the COVID vaccine. I think what the data is going to reflect, based on what I have seen so far, is that natural immunity is going to provide the best protection against COVID. That is what I have. That's what many of you out there have. That's what tens of millions of you have who have already had COVID going forward. I want to reiterate again, we had the governor of Tennessee on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton show today, and he announced yesterday that everyone in the state of Tennessee who has a child can make their own decision about whether their kids wear a mask or not. Based on the data, My kids in public school right now, my first grader and my fifth grader, are not wearing masks to school because I don't think that masks provide any protection for them at all.